What's up, my people? This is ShowBizz, the dope. All right, man, look, let's talk about it. Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. Will that fight happen? When will it happen? And my thoughts. Dude, all right, man, look. This is, I wonder, how can I say this? All right, so let's start with this. The post-fight interview, when immediately after the Terence Crawford Amir Khan fight, and Terence Crawford said he wanted Errol Spence. And Bob Arum, they interviewed Bob Arum, and Bob Arum said, look, Terence Crawford wants Errol Spence. Errol Spence wants Terence Crawford. No, he said, I want to quote this right. He said, Terence Crawford wants to fight. Errol Spence wants to fight. I want the fight. The only one who seems to not want the fight is Al Hayman. Now, the first thing I want to say about that, you guys from here on out can totally miss me with Errol Spence ducking Terence Crawford, because Bob Arum doesn't feel that way and Terence Crawford doesn't feel that way. If you feel that way, then you're just hating. I'm gonna keep it a buck, and I'm sorry. Any of my show business partners who feel that way, you're just trying to come from a perspective that's not even close to, they're closer to the situation than we are, okay? Terence Crawford, he knows Errol Spence wants him as bad as he wants Errol Spence. Terence Crawford doesn't think Errol Spence is ducking. Bob Arum, who it behooves him to say Errol Spence is ducking so he can try to bait him into the fight. Bob Arum said Errol Spence wants to fight. So ain't nobody ducking, okay, between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. Please let that be facts, okay? What Bob Arum said was the only one who seems to not want the fight is Al Hayman. So let's talk about that. I don't have too much to say about Al Hayman because I don't see that guy. I don't see him. I don't hear from him. Do you? This guy is like some kind of invisible, he's like a unicorn. For me to have any kind of real opinion on Al Hayman, who he is, how he thinks, I gotta hear something. I don't know this guy. This guy is really, he is really elusive, okay? But I can try to come up with this criticism of him or opinion of him, and this is where I'm at with it. Bob Arum should understand this as more than anyone. I remember Bob Arum's stable. See, right now, he doesn't hold the advantage when it comes to welterweights. Al Hayman does, okay? He just has Terence Crawford. He doesn't really have welterweights like that, okay? So he's at a disadvantage. But I remember when Bob Arum had Clottey, Cotto, Margarito, Manny Pacquiao, Marquez, and guess what we had? We had Margarito versus Cotto, Margarito versus Cotto 2, Clottey versus Margarito, Clottey versus Manny Pacquiao, Cotto versus Manny Pacquiao, Cotto versus Clottey, Manny Pacquiao versus Marquez, Manny Pacquiao versus Marquez, Manny Pacquiao versus Marquez, Manny Pacquiao versus Margarito, Manny Pacquiao versus, he just kept that. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it real. Bob Arum kept it within his stable all night long, okay? So I can only imagine, I can only kind of fathom that Al Hayman is doing the same thing. He got Errol Spence, so he can do Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, Errol Spence, Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao, Danny Garcia, Manny Pacquiao, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman 2, Sean Porter. He can do that before reaching over to fight Terence Crawford, okay? No matter, regardless of how bad we want the fight, we will not turn down watching Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman. We will not turn down watching Errol Spence versus Manny Pacquiao or Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. Al Hayman, I can only imagine that he knows that he can make so many fights with him collecting all the money, okay? I know he's not a promoter. He's an advisor. Look, it sounds like he has the same control Bob Arum has. I don't know the title of advisor or promoter, whatever title you want to put on it, you're doing the same thing, in my opinion, okay? So he can keep all the money in-house before he start giving the keys to Terence Crawford, Okay, think about this. What if Terence Crawford beats Errol Spence? The way the fan base work now, if you lose one fight, you're trash. Okay, that's how the fans, if the fans wasn't like that, then we can make more fights. But fans, how they are is, if you lose one fight, you're trash. Ask Danny Garcia. So if Errol Spence loses to Terence Crawford, now Terence Crawford has the keys. He's undefeated. So now you're giving Terence Crawford all the money. Terence Crawford can fight Keith Thurman. Terence Crawford will fight Danny Garcia. You know what I'm saying? Terence Crawford, he's the one holding the keys. So I can only fathom Al Hayman is saying, until we put who owns the keys fight, I might as well make my money with Errol Spence cleaning out this PBC welterweight, and then go to Terence Crawford. The only problem with that is Errol Spence isn't getting any younger. Terence Crawford isn't getting any younger. But for Errol Spence, with him being so big, he did not look healthy against Mikey Garcia. He didn't. I'm looking at his cheekbones and everything and how little he rehydrated. He did not look that healthy against Mikey Garcia. So I don't know how long he can do 147 before moving to 154. In my opinion, I don't see Errol Spence and Terence Crawford fighting anytime soon. They may end up having to fight at 154. That's how I'm feeling, okay? Or Bob Arum is old. They can be waiting for Bob. I mean, God forbid. But it seems like everybody's kind of, sitting on the ropes, pulling a rope-a-dope, waiting for Bob Arum to fade out, okay? And what happens then? He could have a chance to sign Terence Crawford. So I'm just saying, boxing is just is one of those sports, man. It's one of those, it's a dirty sport, always been. Okay, so what I'm saying is, with all of these elements, we may not see Terence Crawford against Errol Spence for at least 2 years. Seriously. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Am I sounding crazy? I know what we want. We want Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence, but I'm just saying the reality of it. When do you see that fight happening? ShowBizz the dope. I'm thinking Errol Spence don't have long before he move up to 154. To keep it real, man. I'm out. Huh.